He's like, "Phew!"
The Holy Spirit took over.
And no one cares about sprints.
I care about the sprint. McLaren
It's the world championship
hotline. I have some thoughts about that.
He's Max friggin' Verstappen. He should always be on your radar.
We get to the juicy bits.
Love the juicy bits.
I'm not a scientist.
Overtake King.
Yeah.
That restart, by the way, from Oscar Piastri.
Cheeky.
Diabolical. There's been lots of drivers. It's hard to keep them all straight. And we're live. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is where we're yelling, welcome back to another Formula One season.
Oof, here we go.
We are about to start. We're a week away.
So hopefully
A week away.
I don't know, some stuff went down. Hopefully they can get all the stuff there. If not, we'll find out.
We sure will. But we are today. Can I talk?
I don't know.
I don't know if I can either. Haven't done a normal-ish episode in a while.
It's been a while.
So we are going to be talking about the new season of Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
We have thoughts and opinions.
Of course.
I'm sure many of you do as well.
And if not, you're going to have them by the end.
Yeah. You're either going to agree with us or not.
Exactly. And if you haven't watched it, and you can go watch it and then come back.
Yeah. We'll give you our overall thoughts at the end.
Yeah.
This is... can it be a spoiler if it's already... We're talking about stuff that already happened in the Formula One season?
Yeah.
Spoiler warning, we're going to be talking thoroughly about Drive to Survive and everything that happens in it. Even though we already covered a lot of these storylines when we were doing our race reviews.
Exactly.
Like during the season. Anywho.
Yeah.
We're going to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we want to start?
Oh.
We got a couple storylines we can tackle.
Yeah.
A couple of teams and what was going on there. So I'll reel them off real quick.
Okay.
And just tell me what strikes your fancy and we'll go there.
Okay.
So we've got Alpine and Kick Sauber.
That was my favorite one.
We've got McLaren.
Okay.
And everything happening with the championship battle. We've got Red Bull and Racing Bulls.
I had high hopes for that.
We've got Williams and the Williams Project and their ambitions and whatnot. And then we've got the Ferrari Mercedes comparison episode.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much it. That was the main storylines.
Yeah, that pretty much was it.
Yeah.
So I feel like the one that I found the most exciting and that I'll have the most nice thing, not nice, but like the one that I liked and actually like so sidebar. If you're a follower of us and that means you've probably heard me talk about Drive to Survive before, and I have at times been a little like critical of it. So
a little critical.
I've been a lot of critical of it. I once called myself, I said, I'm not a hater, I'm a critiquer, is what I said. So that's why I'm like, well, if I start off with something that I like, then I don't just come across as a hater. So I'm fine starting off with Alpine and Sauber.
Kick Sauber, Steak, whatever.
Why they were that.
Yeah.
Because, there's also, because we can talk about Flavio, which, that was like, oh.
So for that particular storyline, we were following, it was basically a comparison between the two team principals.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got, on one hand, we've got Alpine with Flavio Briatore. And for those who don't know, Flavio Briatore is sort of an infamous person in the Formula One world.
Oh, yeah.
He was involved in a Crashgate scandal, like a long time ago, was banned from the sport and made an unofficial return to it. He last year came on as Alpine's like a consultant for Alpine.
Yeah, like an advisor.
Like an advisor sort of role where he's not like officially a part of the team, but he basically functions as the team principal.
Exactly, yeah.
And I believe they brought on an actual team principal, or had they not?
No.
Who did they bring on?
They brought on, we talked about it in the Alpine team preview, if you have not watched that, but I don't have my notes for that. But I can pause it and go find out. Let me see. Steve Nielsen is managing director. That's what it was. So he's doing the day-to-day, but Flavio is basically team principal.
Yeah. So he's very, like I said, he's notorious and sort of infamous in the Formula One world, embroiled in scandal, unofficially brought back to Alpine in an advisor capacity.
Yeah.
But he basically runs the team.
Yeah. And to be fair, he has had a lot of success in Formula One, which they did cover in Drive to Survive. So just to to give the flowers, I guess, where they're due, he has had some world championships with like Michael Schumacher. He had championships with Alonso. So he's what they call one of like, they had a very particular word, but basically one of the old
guard.
The old guard
is what they said.
Yes.
He's part of the old guard, like the old school style of managing a race team.
Yes. Very cutthroat, very like, if we're being fair, comes across as somebody who has a goal and he don't care what route he has to go to get it, but he's gonna get it.
Yes.
So
very determined, ambitious, cutthroat, I think is a good way to phrase it. I like to call him a Bond villain, like a James Bond 007 villain. He just comes across that way to me and I hate him. Like, I don't know the man. Yeah. But everything I've seen,
he comes across very unlikable.
He's so unlikable.
So again, in Drive to Survive, he comes across very unlikable. I would argue he comes across more unlikable than Christian Horner.
Yes. Which is crazy because of all the scandal that Christian Horner was embroiled in over the last couple of years. You should really dislike Christian Horner a lot more than Drive to Survive makes you dislike him.
Yeah. He's got that likable little...
He's got like a little bit of charm to him at least.
Yes, he does.
He's a little bit like a snake oil salesman in that way, where Christian Horner, like, and again, this isn't a knock on him really at all, because he's very good. He was very good at what he did for a very long time, very successful at
100%.
But you don't get to that level of success without being cutthroat.
Yeah.
And I think he displayed that a lot. But he also had this sort of like, I can sell you anything. I can be likable and get you to do whatever I want with a smile on my face. And he was witty and that kind of stuff, right? So he's got an element of charm to him. Flavio Briatore has not shown me that, or I have not been shown that side of him whatsoever. So there's nothing to like. The only stuff I have heard about him and seen of him makes me hate him.
Yeah.
Like, cannot root for him whatsoever. He is a Bond villain.
Yeah.
He gets his plans get foiled in the end by the hero, whoever the hero may be. And in this case, the hero might just be...
It's Jonathan Wheatley.
Jonathan Wheatley.
And I love it. I was watching Drive to Survive. Jonathan Wheatley came on screen. I instantly fell in love with him. Instantly. I mean... He's so calming. He comes across so sweet, so
genuine.
Nice. Genuine.
Personable. Like, you can tell he's the kind of like boss, which for those who don't know, he's the team principal for Kick Sauber Steak, whatever you want to call them. And so he comes across as the kind of boss who like genuinely like if you tell him like your mother's name, he'll remember your mother's name and ask about, I remember you said your mom like had surgery or something.
Yeah,
he would follow up with you weeks after you mentioned it. Yeah. Like, he seems like that kind of genuine, like, cares about the people that work for him person.
Yeah.
So he's the complete opposite of Flavio Briatore. Yes. Complete.
And for context, in this episode, so Jonathan Wheatley used to work back in the day for Flavio, so he's well aware of how he functions as a team principal.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think at the time he was just in the garage as a mechanic I think it's what he said. I could be wrong because I don't. But either way, he worked his way up and now he's team principal, right? So that episode was it was framed to show the two completely different team principal styles.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably my favorite storyline because they didn't really have to manufacture anything. It felt very organic and just... It kind of just fell into their lap, and I enjoyed it a lot. You got to see how different those teams function under those two people, and Jonathan Wheatley came out on top. At least, I guess I don't know where Kick Sauber actually finished in the standings. I don't remember if they were actually above Alpine. I would imagine they had to have been.
I do know that Kick Sauber got that podium with Nico Hülkenberg. And we were very excited about that when it happened. I'm glad we got to sort of relive that moment.
I loved it.
Through Drive to Survive. And that was just really fun to do that again.
Yes. My only complaint, which this was something we criticized of the season 7 of Drive to Survive, I literally love that Nico Hülkenberg got a podium. I just thought it was kind of funny because the year before that, Lewis Hamilton won Silverstone, was not a storyline after he didn't win a race in, 3 years?
Yeah.
But I was very happy for Nico Hülkenberg and the whole thing. It was just an observation of mine where I was almost like, hope they cover it.
Yeah.
But they did.
Yes. Yeah, that was great. You did mention when we were, kind of going over, comparing our notes from Drive to Survive, that you thought Franco Colapinto got too much love or too much airtime.
Okay. I feel like the storyline of the whole Jack doing Franco Colapinto thing was just one of those things that I'm like, Franco did not do enough last season to warrant as much screen time that he got, which I guess in hindsight, the reason he did is because you couldn't really have highlighted Flavio's, did I say his name?
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Flavio's story without highlighting that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess reflecting a little bit, there was a scene where he just kind of snaps at Franco, and it's kind of hard to watch.
It was, when I tell you I was uncomfortable.
I was very uncomfortable.
Like physically uncomfortable during that scene. So you've got, Flavio's in a meeting with both of his drivers, with Pierre Gasly and Franco Colapinto. And they're kind of talking about where they're at with the team and what they need to do going forward. And basically, Flavio says to Franco, like, you just have to do better, because at this point, Pierre's way outperforming you. You just have to basically be better and do better. And Franco tries to say, well, maybe we can change something with the car, the setup, something like that. And then Flavio cuts him off and is like, no, it's you. Like, you're not good enough right now. Like,
he's like, you're not going to tell me what I need to do. And I was like,
yeah, you're not going to tell me how to basically run this team and what to do. And it's you that's not good. And it's like, whoo. And then you get a soundbite of Pierre saying that, basically he appreciates that Flavio is blunt and like says it like it is and doesn't kind of like beat around the bush. But I think that's probably the nicest thing he could have said about his boss. Yeah.
Which I guess I probably was not a fair thing for me to say that Franco got too much screen time, because I guess in hindsight, the only way we could have explored Flavio's story more was for him to have it, because he wasn't going to be dogging on Pierre. Yeah. He was going to dog on Franco. So, I mean, probably not a fair thing for me to have said, but
I think what it really does is it highlights that what Flavio wants, Flavio gets, because he kicked out, got rid of Jack Doohan after, 6, 7 races?
About 6 races.
Kicks out Jack Doohan, brings in Franco, but Franco's performance didn't prove that he deserved that seat. It wasn't any better than Jack's, right?
No, I don't know that I did forget how many times Jack wrecked the car.
Yeah.
So I can't remember off the top of my head if Franco did total and wreck the car as many times as Jack Doohan did. So that's where that was something that I kind of forgot about until I was watching. I was like, oh, Jack did like mess the car up, like out of 6 races, like what, almost maybe 3, which is half the races you did. Like that's kind of a lot. But I also can't remember if Franco wrecked the car, and if he did, if it was to the same degree that Jack, because Jack had big wrecks.
Yeah.
So like they weren't little ones either. Like they were like pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I did forget about that, but it was, well, one thing with Alpine that was crazy was to find out that armed men approached Jack Doohan in Miami when he was at the gym with his girlfriend, and he had to call his bodyguards, and he was talking about that. And I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with y'all? Because they were like, they wanted Colapinto because he has so many fans and backings. Like, that's nuts. But that is unacceptable, dude.
That's crazy.
What is wrong with you?
It's a sport.
It's
like, it's just, we're driving in circles, y'all. It ain't that serious.
Like, that was insane. But I mean, that was my favorite storyline, and Kix Albert came out on top. I mean, and so it felt like a very good versus evil and good, like, one type of a thing. And I enjoyed that. And I will say, Flavio, when he did talk about Jonathan Wheatley, he said nothing but nice things about him. He said he's a really nice guy. Like, he didn't say anything negative about him, which I was like, I was waiting because I was like, say something.
Say he's a pussy. Say it
because I'm gonna.
I'll go after you
because I do like that. Jonathan Wheatley, out of the whole Drive to Survive thing, was my favorite part of the entire show. Like, if nothing else, that's a good episode to go watch.
He just had such good vibes, such good energy.
He made me. Yeah, I just felt.
I felt warm. Like, it's like warm, like comforting. I liked it a lot.
It's like whenever I like to watch Bob Ross paintings. That's how I felt listening to him speak. I was like, this is very calming to me.
Oh my God. There's a moment where like he's talking to Nico after Nico gets his podium, and he basically says to, like, he's like this close to his face, and he's like, enjoy this moment. No, like, really take it in, enjoy this moment. This doesn't happen every day. This is so long overdue. I'm so proud of you. Like, Oh my God, I'll tear up right now.
It was very
Like,
sweet. Like,
it was so nice.
I have that whole episode made me go, oh, I'm an Audi fan, because like he clearly appreciates what Nico is capable of and sees it and wants to give him that, and he believes in Gabby in a way that like it's just such a genuine way of like. I feel like sometimes team principals can come across very selfish and not necessarily always in it for the driver unless the driver's giving them something.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan Wheatley really came across like, I want to give to people that I know are capable of great things and they need me to support them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a completely different approach than I was used to seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, I'm a fan.
Well, it's what happens when, like, at any company or any business you work for, this is what happens when you invest back into your employees and the people that work for you. It's like, if you know that you've chosen the right people to fill these roles, you have to nurture that seed to grow into the plant and bear the fruit that you want it to.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like he's got the right mentality and the right approach. And part of that is like, you've chosen the right people because you see what they can do and what they are capable of and what they have achieved. And I just think his whole philosophy, he's going to do something with this team.
I think so.
I predict that.
I do too. I think Audi are on my radar now just because of how he's functioning as a team principal. I'm like, huge fan. Now I'm going to be, they're one of the teams I'm going to be rooting for out of the midfield.
I agree. So we have this episode, which was your favorite, I think my favorite too, where we're successfully comparing two different teams and contrasting two different teams. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about an episode where that was not such a successful sort of vibe, like a successful, like, what's the word, composition of the episode? Anywho, I can't get the right word. Mercedes and Ferrari. So we get this episode where basically they're comparing what Lewis Hamilton is doing in his first year with Ferrari. Mm-hmm. And he's the oldest driver on the grid, or second oldest. Mm-hmm. Sorry, my bad.
How dare you?
I apologize.
I mean, it's in your defense. He's a rookie.
He. And then, so we're comparing Lewis Hamilton, the winningest driver in terms of championships on the grid, one of the most experienced, and then we've got the kid that they picked to replace him,
18-year-old Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah, at Mercedes, and so. I thought it was very funny. So Will Buxton is in this season. He's not commentating for Formula One anymore. But he is like, or as part of like F1 TV, but they did have him back.
Yes,
for this.
I thought that was interesting.
But the thing is,
he's very knowledgeable though.
He's still an expert on Formula One. You know, he was in it for how many years?
You saw he's made a new podcast, right?
Yeah.
With David Coulthard? Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
I saw that. He did move over to commentating for IndyCar last season. But they still had him on Drive to Survive.
Oh, and he was clearly still following.
Oh, yeah. And I actually do miss Will Buxton as part of like the F1 TV team.
I do too.
Because I do appreciate a lot of the insights and comments that he has. And he has a way of phrasing things that I just find delightful. And something that he said was that, when they're comparing Kimi and Lewis, and Will says, we're trying to see who comes out on top, basically, the kid or the goat. And I'm like, wait. A kid is a baby goat. That's what you call a baby goat, a kid.
He knew that.
Oh my God, it's so good.
That's awesome.
I clocked it. Clock it? I clocked it.
That was the best part of the episode.
That was the whole best part of the episode. I was like, oh, Will Buxton. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So, the kid or the goat, who's going to come out on top. And so through the whole episode, they're comparing the performances of the two drivers and trying to see who's going to do better, right? Mm-hmm. And it just fell super flat for me.
Yeah.
Because one, Lewis and Kimi are actually friendly. Yes. With each other. They're like, Lewis is very supportive of Kimi and has been outspoken about, specifically with Kimi stepping into the role that Lewis understands the pressure Kimi's going to be under at Mercedes.
Yeah.
And they even showed part of the episode where, they're exploring like the actual pressures that he's under and how much responsibility he has and all the different things he has to do other than just racing. Which I will say they did a good job, I think, of exploring that for, a kid who's 18 years old.
Yeah.
This is his first like job.
Yeah.
And all the stuff he has to do, the pressure he's under, like he goes to like a meet and greet with fans and stuff where he's signing, hats and merch and meeting people. And someone asked him, how are you doing? And he's like, I'm finding this very overwhelming. And you can tell he's just got this energy about him that's like, He's
an 18-year-old kid with like, I'm sorry, you know what it reminds me of? Grown-ass women screaming for Justin Bieber. There's grown-ass women and men, whatever, but I'm just saying it has to be
fanaticism
weird as a child. He's a child, and I'm not saying that to put him down. I'm like, he's a baby in comparison to the rest of his life. Like I do think Toto, and they're trying to protect him, but at the same time, like, how weird is it to hear grown people chanting your name and Kimmy, like you're a grown woman. That's weird.
There's nothing that could ever prepare you at 18 years old or any time in your life, really, to walk into that environment. And just all these people know who you are and feel some sort of like connection to you. And you have they're all strangers to you.
Yeah.
Like that's got to be so overwhelming and just weird.
And I did think like you said, they did a good job with that. And if that would have been the focus, if the episode would have been spun in a way that showed the two drivers and how Kimmy being brand new, experiencing this like increase in fame versus Lewis, where the fame is transitioning to the Tifosi. Because I mean, Lewis is probably the most famous Formula One driver if you look at like even celebrity status, right? But even he's gonna have to get used to the pressures of like Italy. That would have been a way better comparison, comparing the kid and the goat and the pressures they're now both under externally versus comparing their performance pitted against each other.
Especially when they both had very like meh performances, like very meh seasons. Like that wasn't the crux of their story.
No.
To me. It was like it's not interesting.
No.
This is more interesting when we're talking about the pressures to succeed and the fame that comes with it.
Because you have two people that you think would have nothing in common, but just based on like where they are in their career, who probably felt very similar at times. And I'm like, that would have been a way better way to explore that story than what they did.
Yeah, and even going back to, they're trying to pit these two guys against each other, but they're actually friends and friendly to each other. Like they seem to have a good camaraderie.
Yeah.
So, you're not really you're trying to pit them against each other, like manufacturing this like rivalry between them that doesn't exist.
No.
They even show undermining their own narrative.
Yeah.
They even show a clip of Lewis and Kimmy sitting beside each other on the couch at a press conference. And then Kimmy says to Lewis, they just keep adding media days. Like they just keep adding more and more. And he looks visibly like distressed.
Yeah. And
Lewis is like, yeah, it is a lot. How many do they have you doing now? He said 42.
And he's like, ooh, yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that is a lot. And like just that moment to me completely undermines the whole they're against each other rivals like narrative.
Yeah. And I mean, even it was framed in a way where it's like everybody watching is the one comparing them. But even then I was like, I never compared them. I never once thought, well, Kimmy's doing better than Lewis or Lewis is doing better. Like it's not relevant. Like it just felt really like that's the best. Really? Meh.
And then I feel like George with Mercedes was sort of an afterthought. And kind of so was Charles. They
both were. And that's what was kind of like, I do think George probably had a bit more to explore in the sense of that was his first year being the senior driver. There was more of a story there he could have told. Even with him being there for Kimmy, there could have been way more. Like there was some stuff between him and Kimmy. Not nearly as much.
George is just so awkward sometimes that I'm like he has this way of talking where he's like trying to be like the charming, jovial kind of guy. And I'm like, you sound like a dad.
Well, he's so awkward. And then the thing that's so...
And he's trying so hard. And I'm like, bless you, George.
Well, they get off the tube. And then like he makes a comment, yeah, they'll just smash you like Max Verstappen. And Kimmy kind of awkwardly laughs. And I'm like, you do know Kimmy like loves Max, right? Like, stop being...
Read the room, George.
Kimmy's like, these are my divorced parents. Like, I'm with my other parent right now. No, super weird. Charles, I felt bad for. But there wasn't, if I do think of like what story you could have told with Charles, there wasn't one.
Which is
really.
fine.
Which is, yes. And so I'm like, I think
at least they didn't give us another Monaco episode where we talk about how important it is for him to race there and growing up and his whole family. Because not that isn't a good story. They've just done it like every season.
Yeah, like he won it.
Okay, move on.
Yes, we're good.
If we need to relive it, we'll just revisit that episode.
I mean, if anything,
so I'm glad that they didn't do that.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, Charles could have maybe had a story with, but it would have been integrated with Lewis, and that's clearly just not the route that they went. And I don't know that there really was even one to fabricate or make up, or if there even was one at all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they seem to get along well, but I don't think Charles is exactly like sitting up trying to go, hey, Lewis, let me help you. I don't think that's the case, but I also don't think Lewis would be receptive to this. Is a weird dynamic. So
they do have an interesting dynamic on that team.
I think they get along. I think they both respect each other. I think they both like each other.
I think they have a lot of shared interests outside of racing.
Yeah.
Which is good, but I think that they both are so in their own lanes in terms of like what they're doing with their careers and where they're at and what they're trying to achieve. They're just different. They're just such different people. Like versus, you've seen other driver pairings, like, him with Carlos or him with really just him with Carlos.
I don't remember who was at Ferrari before Carlos. Was this Vettel, duh. Sorry, Vettel. Yeah. Sorry. Oh my God. They got along really well.
Yeah. So it's just a different sort of dynamic where they're not like buddy best friends doing a bunch of like media playing games and stuff together. And I think part of that is probably because Lewis has like no patience for that stuff.
Well, I mean, it's just different.
Yeah.
But I mean, there wasn't really anything to explore there. But the whole comparison to Kimmy and Lewis just really fell flat. There was nothing exciting about it because, like you said, I wouldn't say one clearly came out on top. And I don't even think that's a good storyline anyway.
Yeah.
Because you have two completely different people in their careers getting used to something. Kimmy's a Formula One driver for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Lewis is a Formula One driver who has basically been under some sort of Mercedes garage since the start of his career, because even when he was with McLaren, it was McLaren Mercedes. Mm-hmm. Then he goes to Mercedes. It's a whole new ball game. So even like someone like Carlos Sainz, who has switched teams 5 times, has no idea what it's like to be with a team that has a similar structure and operations for as long as Lewis did. It's just nobody can say that they've done that.
Yeah. So
it's just like, what are we doing? Yeah. This is not a simple, I'm just switching my team thing, like for either one. Mm-hmm. It just was like not really a good story.
Yeah. That comparison just fell really flat for me.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I want to mention about Mercedes is I want to say it was like the Vegas episode maybe, where George mentions that there's a pleasure kit. Do you remember that where he's talking to Toto and he says something? It made me laugh. So he says something about there were pleasure kits and they're like, oh, did you like look at them and open them? And George was like, well, yeah. And then he says, I know all about a woman's pleasure. Wait. But then he says, there's like a pleasure kit for men. And he's like, well, what's in there?
Why do I not remember this?
You don't remember?
I must have blacked out.
You need to go rewatch.
I'm going
immediately. I was dying. I was like, no,
We'll
George.
put it on whenever we transfer our footage. Carmen's like, shut up.
Oh my God, it was so good. I'm like, you let them film that, George.
Icon. Honestly, icon.
Now I want to get into Williams. So we had the main sort of Williams storyline, which I actually enjoyed. They got into Carlos Sainz moving from Ferrari to Williams in his first season with Williams and kind of coming to grips with the team and getting used to working with a not, front of the field, top of the field, front of the field team.
Yeah.
And kind of what that looks like and what that functions like and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that at the end of that storyline, I believe in the Williams project. Like, I believe in James Vowles. I believe in what Carlos and Alex and James are trying to accomplish with that team.
Yeah.
I'm bought in. And, I fully believe that James Vowles is the one that convinced Carlos, like, fully, like, to sign with Williams. Like, and I know they kind of showed that last season on Drive to Survive, but, like, I fully know because I'm convinced. Like, I believe in it.
Yeah.
And I think they did a good job of showing that aspect of the team.
Yeah, I agree. I think they did a good job showing what that would have felt like for Carlos to switch because he had options. He chose Williams because, for a long time he was tied to the Audi project. And now he's ended up going to Williams, and that was covered last season. But I think they showed the struggle of what it could look like to question your choice. You know who it reminded me of was Daniel Ricciardo going to McLaren. That it echoed that storyline when it looked like it was a mistake, but then he got a podium, and hopefully that's not the case. I don't think it is, because I think
we don't hope that the rest of the storyline mirrors Daniel's arc.
No,
Fully, yeah, that was.
I miss Daniel Ricciardo. That's missed him because he's not.
Is this the first season he's not in?
No, I guess he wasn't in. No,
he was in last season.
Yeah. Yeah, because last season
he was with Racing Bulls.
Last season covered 2024, and this season covered 20. Yeah,
and when Liam Lawson stepped in for him when he broke his hand.
This was the first season without Daniel Ricciardo, and I felt it. Yeah. I think everybody probably felt it. But anyway, point is, that's what the Williams thing sort of reminded me of. But I think they did a good job covering what it would feel like to question your decision and feel like, is this the right choice? But then having that redemption of, okay, no, I'm reminded of why I was brought on to this project. So I thought they painted a really good picture with that. I don't feel like Alex had a lot of story. I mean, it was really about Carlos, but to be fair, I mean, Alex has been there a while. There's not really, he clearly already believes in it, and he has. So
it wasn't, we've done Alex-centric episodes in previous seasons, I feel like.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I do think I enjoyed the insight that they showed Carlos has, because part of the reason he's such a good fit for Williams is that Carlos has been part of several different Formula One teams. I think
he told Lewis he's changed teams 5 times.
Yeah. So he started with Red Bull. He moved to, was it Renault? So he was with Renault, which eventually became Alpine. And then whenever Fernando Alonso left McLaren, Carlos Sainz moved to McLaren and partnered with Lando Norris. And then he left McLaren and went to Ferrari. And now he's with Williams. So this is his 5th team in his career. So he has worked with literally half the grid now. Yeah. And it shows because he's worked with some, front of the pack teams. And he was able to give some, again, he's just a good fit for Williams because he, I think, even bluntly said to James Vowles, the way that we're doing things and the mistakes that we're making is not how the big, 3-4 teams do things, and they don't make these mistakes, like operationally.
Yeah.
And so he's like, we're not going to get to where they are if we're still doing things this way.
Yeah.
And it's such a good moment to show and capture the value he does bring to the team other than just being a good driver.
Exactly, yeah.
Because make no mistake about it, he's a great driver.
100%.
I think he's an underrated driver.
Yeah.
And I think that this shows, and people have said before, they fully believe that once his racing days are done, he will become like a team principal eventually in his career.
Probably, yeah.
Because he has such a mind for the engineering aspect, but then he'll have the experience of being a driver. And then he even, again, operationally, he knows how teams are supposed to be run, how successful teams are supposed to be run.
Yeah.
And so, I thought they highlighted that really well.
No, I think they did too. I liked it. I thought it was a well executed episode. It was like a struggle, and then they, he got his podiums, and it just showcased okay, yeah, no, that was worth it. So I thought they did a good job.
I do have one criticism for Williams and for James Vowles, and it is that, James, I need you to wear a t-shirt underneath your collared button-ups. I need for you to do this for me, please.
Why?
Because when you're wearing a button up, I should not be able to see your flesh from the gap in between the buttons. Okay. I need you to wear a t-shirt under that. And that's just, for me personally, that would be a huge favor for me.
Okay.
That was the one, I made that note specifically so I could mention it.
Let's see if we can make that happen.
I need you to wear t-shirt, undershirt under your button up, please. Please and thank you.
Yeah. Heard it here.
Yeah. So moving on to, let's talk about Red Bull and Racing Bulls.
There's a hole in Drive to Survive now with Christian Horner no longer. He was in about half the season, I guess, Drive to Survive. I mean, so if you're here, you've probably watched the Formula One season, and if not, kind of go watch those reviews. But long story short, Christian Horner left summer break.
Yeah.
And Laurent Mekies replaced him. And I just kind of didn't like how it felt very glossed over. It felt like the genesis of it, of him being let go, like the start of the season was really focused on. And then he was let go, and we kind of spent a little bit of time with him after he was let go. But then the transition Laurent Mekies has into Red Bull, he's just there.
Yeah.
And
they don't really mention it. They don't bring up that, or they don't bring up Alan Permain.
There's not really an introduction.
Yeah, taking over at Racing Bulls.
Exactly.
They don't.
Yeah, Alan Permain's never on screen. He's never introduced as team principal. Another criticism back to the Red Bull Racing Bulls thing, even before Christian Horner, we have Liam Lawson does 2 races for Red Bull. Is immediately, like after 2 races, he's sent back to Racing Bulls. And then Yuki Tsunoda is promoted. And there, Liam is disappointed. That's shown. Yuki's excited. That's shown. That's it.
We get no other follow-up.
No. We don't see how they are throughout the season. We don't see the fact that Yuki doesn't do any better than what Liam really had done, or had been doing. We don't talk about the fact that the second Red Bull seat is in fact cursed, and clearly Yuki Tsunoda performed way better at Racing Bulls. Nobody commented on it. Nobody talked about how Yuki Tsunoda's whole career basically just got smashed to pieces because he got put in that second car when he was performing well at Racing Bulls.
Yes.
None of that's talked about, not even a glimpse of it. The next time we even see Yuki Tsunoda is when he's trying to help run Lando off the road at the very last race. That's it. What the hell? That is ridiculous. And then the whole Red Bull Racing Bull thing, let's not forget either. We focused on Isaac Hadjar for a moment in the very first Grand Prix, wrecking on the formation lap. That's mentioned. Nothing is ever talked about with Isaac ever again until the end of the whole show when he's promoted to the Red Bull seat.
Yep. They don't talk about why that happened. They don't talk about how his performance improved over the season, and he had that one screw up at the beginning, and then it just was all, at least it was rock bottom, and then all up from there. They don't talk about how he became a real leader on the team and a driving force on the team. Like he really, was starting to come into his own as part of the team. None of that is talked about.
No, the whole focus on Red Bull is Christian Horner getting iced out by Helmut Marko, and
they really paint Christian in a sympathetic light.
Yeah, because we find out I was under the impression that the switch was Christian. According to Drive to Survive and Christian, he did not want to do that. The switch between Yuki and Liam. According to Liam Lawson, I didn't like this. This is something I did not like. Liam is in the interview seat for Drive to Survive. They ask him about Max. What did Max think? And Liam hesitates, and I don't like that the person behind the camera says, "Tell the truth." Who are you?
I would assume that that's somebody part of Red Bull. Like I'm assuming, because
I would hope so.
To me, if the driver's in the room with Netflix, there's no way they're there by themselves. They probably have several team members there, especially like media manager type people.
Which, if that's the case, fair enough.
To me, I didn't take that as a Netflix person. I took that as a media member telling him, like, it's okay, you can say it.
Because I thought maybe they had different voices, but it sounded like the same person who said, "Did you ask Max?" was the same person who said, "Tell the truth."
Oh,
and
I don't
maybe
know.
it was different voices. I mean, maybe they all just sound the same. That's fair enough.
Because to me, it read as like the way Liam kind of looks off camera. It looks like he's looking for permission from somebody.
And fair enough. That's fine.
And that's why they say that, is because he looks at them like, "What do you want me to say?" Or can I say? And then they say, "You tell the truth."
And Max was like,
and it didn't come across as like, "Tell the truth." To me, it read as more like, you can tell the truth. Tell the truth. Anyway, that was my impression of that. But
to me, if it was the same person who asked the question, which that I was like, who are you?
To me, that wouldn't make sense that they would say
that's
that.
Fair. But basically, Max was not happy with it either. And so
that Max was not in support of Liam and Yuki switching, not because he had anything against Yuki. I think he really likes Yuki.
Yeah.
But because I think Max clearly saw what everyone else saw, was that Liam needs to be given a chance, and you need some stability within the team. You can't keep switching people like this. Like, give him a minute. Because we know that Max loves his little rookies. He's like the mama duckling. He has a lot of, I think, sympathy and empathy for these rookies. And I mean, I think that he knows the kind of like chaos and all that stuff, how that can really affect people too. Not just him or within the team, but like the rookie driver. So I think that he was like, no, I fully believe that Max was like, this is not a good idea.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's not a good idea because one, like that's just a horrible thing to do to a person. But two, it's like, this is just, you're giving more fuel to the fire of us being not stable. Now you're going to mount so much media pressure onto me that I hate the media. If I'm speaking as if I'm Max, just the whole thing was just ridiculous. But it was painted like that's not what Christian wanted either. I was under the impression it was at the time it had happened. So that was a little bit of an interesting thing. Like I was under the impression Christian wanted the switch, but according to Christian, that was not his call when they asked him. That was apparently.
I don't know how much I believe that.
Apparently, if you go look at, I guess, what Christian has said about Yuki Tsunoda before, he was never a huge. That was apparently
a fan of Yuki.
That was apparently a Helmut Marko thing.
That's true.
That wasn't a Christian thing, which then leads me to believe, then why is Christian being punished for the switch? That's kind of messed up.
Well, I think he was being punished for other
things too. Fair enough, but that was part of. I mean, honestly.
One in the list of things.
Let's just be honest. If they would have kept Liam Lawson and Liam somehow, this is hypothetical world, would have performed, they wouldn't have let Christian go. If he would have been finishing in the top 10, getting points, they would not let Christian go. Like that was the final nail in the coffin of letting Christian go was there's no performance at Red Bull. So it's interesting that he didn't, according to his words.
But if he's the one that didn't want to make the switch in the first place, they're laying the blame at his feet for Yuki being brought on after only 2 races and then not performing. And he's like, this wasn't my call anyway.
Very interesting.
Yeah, this is a lot of like finger pointing. He said, she said, this isn't my fault, it's your fault.
Yeah. But the Red Bull whole storyline it fell through, and at least during the Red Bull centric episode, was really about Christian. It wasn't even about Max or anybody, which I mean, granted, Max doesn't really do anything with Drive to Survive anyway, so it's going to be hard to build an episode around him. So that's fair. But clearly they could get Yuki Tsunoda. They did. They sat him down like twice. They could have gotten Liam. They could have gotten Isaac. They just didn't feel like doing that, and they just used Christian. I guess probably they were like, well, might as well make an episode about him because we're never going to get any more from him. So
utilize him the most you can.
Yeah, but it fell through. It was just, there was a lot of dynamic to explore there. Not to mention to really showcase, because Laurent Mekies did interviews and they really could have showcased his different approaches of team principal versus Christian. Didn't take advantage of that.
Missed storylines.
Yeah.
It's like things that are more interesting.
Yeah.
I do want to mention, Toto Wolff and Christian Horner have a notorious rivalry. I think they said the statistic out of the last, was it 15 out of the last 15 championships in Formula One, 14 of them have been won by either Toto or Christian. And so like that's a combined stat that's like, okay.
Pretty legendary.
Yeah. And so, they're these sort of like frenemies, like friendly rivals.
100%. Yeah.
And so we get this, so Christian reads the last text message he and Toto exchanged. And so I wanted to pull that up because this is, I enjoyed this. The message from Toto to Christian was, quote, "I didn't know what to say because on one side you've been a real asshole, but on the other hand, the sport will miss one of its main protagonists. Who should I fight? And love to hate, as you always said." So then Christian Horner responds and he says, quote, "I've loved locking horns with you all these years, so thank you for the rivalry, the competition, and the needle. No one else even came close, as the statistics point out. I wish you all the best for the future. P.S. You need a haircut."
That part was funny.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. And I just wanted to point out that that text message exchange is very enemies to lovers coded.
It's not enemies to lovers, it's frenemies.
It's rivals to lovers coded, whatever you want to say. I just thought it was very like bromancy sort of thing where I enjoyed it.
It's very Kevin Magnussen being in the Kick Sauber garage for Nico Hulkenberg.
Yeah. Like I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like you can tell they had a mutual respect for each other professionally and they butted heads a lot, but they're like, there's no one else I would have rather butted heads with. Like I just thoroughly enjoyed that.
No, I did too.
So you had mentioned storylines, or you've mentioned a couple storylines that got like no exposure.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout the course of, this season of Drive to Survive. And one of them that you had a problem with, and I agree, is that we got this amazing strategy call from Hannah, who is one of the only female strategists, like engineers that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
She's like part of the pit wall, and helps with the strategy calls during the race. And what race was it you said? It was
I think it was the one where McLaren just made the wrong call. Which one was it? But I mean, I believe it was when they had to pit. Basically, McLaren chose not to, and then Max and them did, and it was everybody else on the grid did it anyway. But the point is that she also is there all the time, literally on the pit wall. She's the one that they quoted why they made the call.
Mm-hmm.
Literally when this happened real time, she was the one talking to the media. None. And then even though the strategy call by McLaren was criticized so heavily in Drive to Survive, but Red Bull, who made the right call, which most of the grid made the right call, besides McLaren, to be fair. But I believe that was the race. Mm-hmm. But even then, at this time, Red Bull had gained enough where that was part of the storyline they were exploring in Drive to Survive, with the McLaren Red Bull aspect, and this Hannah gets no attention at all. Yeah. And maybe she didn't want it. Maybe she had no interest in Drive to Survive, but that hasn't stopped them from literally talking about it, pulling social media stuff, like quotes online, pulling interviews she's done publicly because they have access to all that. She just was not talked about whatsoever.
Give credit where credit's due. Come on.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
It felt like a missed opportunity to highlight somebody. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, which another female or a woman, which another woman in Formula One who got no love and no mention of whatsoever, and really this team didn't get any airtime, was Haas.
Yeah.
So Esteban Ocon, his main engineer, his the person who's on the radio to him, making relaying information to and from, is a woman.
Laura Mueller.
Yes, Laura. No mention of Laura whatsoever. That she's I think is she the first female
she's the first full-time race engineer. She's like a race engineer. There's multiple different engineers. She's like Esteban Ocon's race engineer. She's his Bono.
Yes.
Bono being Lewis Hamilton's old engineer at Mercedes. But people should know that. That's her. That's his GP.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, none. She is featured a few times, talking to Esteban once or twice.
You can hear her voice.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, no mention of that. So that was the kind of a
pretty historical moment in Formula One to have highlighted that Haas has it's their first full-time race engineer in Formula One.
I would love if they would do a women in Formula One episode of Drive to Survive. I would love if we could get to that point where there were enough women working in Formula One that they merited an episode.
The Racing Bulls garage was full of them. Remember that when Isaac got his podium?
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
There's so many girls.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, I would love if we could get to that point in Formula One.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
It would be awesome.
Moving on to the last sort of main team we wanted to talk about, which is the big team.
Yeah, the one.
So McLaren, they really, what's the phrase? Softballed it.
Yeah.
With this storyline. So it was actually, if you followed along with the season, super interesting storyline about papaya rules and the competition between, we've got Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri duking it out, and there's no number 2 driver at McLaren. They're both number 1 drivers. And the back and forth of the rivalry. At one point, Oscar takes the lead in the drivers' championship, and then he goes on, his performance takes a nosedive off a cliff, and then he's just not doing great for several, 6 or 7 races in a row, just sucks.
Yeah, I think it was 7 races he was not
and
good
then
at.
He makes a little bit of a recovery, and he's trying to make a push for it, but it's kind of so many good storylines. We've even got the where McLaren sort of somehow botches their lead in the drivers' championship to the point that Max Verstappen slowly gains and gains and gains. He comes in second when he had no designs on winning the drivers' championship this year.
No.
And eventually he got to a point where
okay,
I could. I mean, if you really are going to give it to me,
I guess I'll take it.
I guess I'll take it. And so you know, they just really didn't cover in Drive to Survive. They did not cover any of those storylines to do with McLaren effectively or to my satisfaction. It was so watered down.
100%.
They didn't highlight the competition between Oscar and Lando enough and in a way that really got it across. Like it did not come across well at all. Like it was kind of like briefly mentioned. You've got like there's a lot of Zach Brown in this.
There was a lot
season.
of Zach Brown because we didn't have Christian no more.
I guess.
And another thing that was this normally Drive to Survive was 10 episodes. This was 8.
Yeah, I did want to mention that it was so we just had fewer storylines to follow, I guess.
Which means we could have really built the tension. Here's the thing. Okay, no, what I was gonna say is if the format that you typically tell a story isn't gonna work because the storyline is one team throughout the year, like the McLaren storyline, then you need to adjust your formula and don't just address a team in one episode, basically.
You need to have arcs through the whole season.
Yeah, like it's okay. Like believe it or not, I can handle like juggling a few storylines at a time.
Yes.
I can handle it. I think you can handle it. I think most viewers can handle it. So there was clearly so much tension could have been built. And this is the thing too, is I find it kind of unbelievable that for a show that has been accused of fabricating stories, creating villains when they're not, literally, when I say fabricate, I mean literally taking clips from different races to make Max Verstappen look like an evil villain, right? Don't tell me you're afraid to talk about the contention in McLaren and you're afraid to explore that in a way that effectively shows how dysfunctional it was. Like, so you can fabricate a story, right? But it's hard for you to follow a real story. Like, I find that hard to believe and makes me feel like most of the work you want to do is in post then rather than like throughout the season. And that's very disappointing considering I've seen you make storylines up that didn't even happen throughout a race season, but you couldn't effectively follow the biggest one throughout the entire year and actually show the tension that was everywhere. That's actually unacceptable and kind of sad.
Yeah. I did want to mention a couple of things that I specifically noted when it comes to McLaren. So one thing is that they, in the Las Vegas episode, when they talk about, McLaren, they win the race and really great performance from both drivers, and then they come under investigation and eventually are disqualified. I did like the editing in that portion. I think that the music choice was good. The way it was edited together, it built the suspense of the moment, like what's happening and like there are stakes involved. Like I thought that was a really good editing choice. I enjoyed that.
In post.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that. It kind of, a little bit of drama.
No, it was great. Yeah. Should have been throughout the whole thing.
I agree. There was a moment, I called it shady editing. So Lando is, we see him getting ready for the F1 movie premiere in a hotel room. And someone asked him if it's mandatory for him to be there. And he's like, well, it's mandatory for all the drivers, isn't it? And they're like, and he's like, is it not? It's not everybody here. It was not. Then someone said, it's mandatory for you. And so then they say something about like, they ask where Oscar and Zach are. And Lando's like, I don't know. I have no idea where they're at. Cut to Zach and Oscar having a sit down across from each other one-on-one meeting. The way that this is framed is it looks like Zach and Oscar are colluding.
Yeah, like weren't they there at the premiere?
I'm pretty sure.
I think the only one that didn't go was Max.
And was it Lance or Fernando? There was like 2 drivers that weren't there.
But I'm pretty sure Oscar was there, right?
Yeah.
So
no, but the way that it was cut together, the shady editing of it all, I know that we're no strangers to Drive to Survive doing this, but the way it was cut together just made me literally laugh out loud because I'm like, oh my God.
No, I do remember that, and I was like, my first thought was, what? I'm pretty sure Oscar was there.
And it's cut together to make it look like they're meeting at the time when Lando's like, where are they at?
I don't know where they are. Like, literally, So one thing I will say, because I know I'm dogging on McLaren, I'm not really dogging on McLaren. I'm dogging on the Drive to Survive telling the story. I do think that the portion where Zach Brown was talking about why he's always liked McLaren, I liked that. I liked his reasoning behind it, because if you do look at McLaren's history, they have had very successful drivers, and they haven't always had a clear number one, clear number two. Cut to Ayrton Senna and Alan Prost, their whole rivalry while they were McLaren teammates. Like, I liked that explanation. I thought it was a really cool sequence when they took Senna's car and Lewis's car, and that was really cool for somebody who, like, Lewis Hamilton stan. We love Senna. Like, that was a cool moment to see those two cars, because also just to know how much Lewis loves Senna. And so to see his car on track with Senna's car, that was pretty cool. I loved that sequence. That's about it.
So during that whole sequence, it's basically Zach Brown showing Oscar Piastri the McLaren sort of car collection vibes, right?
He's the favorite right then and there. I think he was in the lead.
Yes.
He was the favorite child.
He was the favorite child right then. So then, Zach, when he's showing Oscar the two cars, and he says, he talks about Lewis's car, his McLaren, and he says, that's from the year that Lewis and Fernando were teammates at McLaren, and they had an intense inter-team rivalry.
It had to be his first season. Yeah.
And so they had such an intense rivalry, battling it out, which again mirrors, Oscar and Lando. There are so many names. I'm trying so hard to keep all straight.
I know.
Oscar and Lando. So it mirrors Oscar and Lando's rivalry. But then I thought it was so funny how Zach, points to the car, and he mentions Fernando and Lewis, and, they're battling it out in a great rivalry. But then, McLaren that year ended up losing the championship by 1 point. And then Zach says, let's not make it that close.
They didn't.
Not for the team one, but for the driver one.
No, but it was 2 points.
It was 2 points. You can't make this stuff up. Where Lando Norris at the end of the season ends up winning the drivers' championship over Max Verstappen by 2 points.
2.
So it was not, 1 point close.
No, I agree.
Chef's kiss, like, that the editing team at Drivers' Survive was like, eat it up.
They ate that up.
Yeah.
They were like, ooh, I can really mess with that in post.
Yeah. That was a lovely moment for me, personally. So the last thing I wanted to mention about McLaren is that, we saw a lot of Zach Brown throughout this whole season, and he's just there all the time. And I say this with affection. Zach Brown is such a dork.
Yes.
He has this very larger than life presence about him, and the way that he talks, he's very theatrical. And so the way that he says things, and just he tries to be charming, and he is successful sometimes. But then a lot of the time I'm just like, you're such a dork. Again, said with a lot of affection. I enjoy it. I enjoy his dorkiness. Yeah. That's all I wanted to say about McLaren.
Yeah, I do think that Oscar and Lando get along pretty well. They did show some of their interactions together, so they seem to get along very well. A lot of the mistakes, they never seemed mad at each other. And
Oscar even makes that a point at one point when they're talking, and he says, I'm happy for us to be competitive and, allowed to race each other. He's like, I just don't want it to get to the point of being nasty.
Yeah.
And that we're like coming at each other, like outside of the car sort of thing. And I think I do think that it was a conscious effort on everyone's part at McLaren to keep it from getting to that boiling point. And it does take a special kind of person, and this is to Lando's credit and to Oscar's credit, that they don't take it personally.
Yeah. But part of me is like, oh yeah, that was a good for them. The other part of me is like, do you want to be an icon or not? How bad do you want it? Because it's kind of like, we talk about some of the McLaren rivalries, or even they brought up Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton, and Nico Rosberg makes his appearance in Drive to Survive.
Thrilled to see Nico Rosberg. Yeah. I was like, wait, he's here.
And they brought out the worst and best of each other. Like there's a quote that says there's no Senna without Alan Prost, and there's no Prost without Senna. Yeah. And it's kind of like, just because I get wanting to be. We've had this discussion before where they just don't have the rivalries anymore. Mm-hmm. The last rivalry we saw wasn't even between teammates. I would say it was Max and Lewis, because it was like they were both like deserved it. They were both pushing in 2021, but now they get along very well. Mm-hmm. But I say that to say, like, maybe if they would have both been a little more hungry and more willing to bear their teeth at one another, it would have been different. Because it just comes across like muted, watered down. I mean,
you say that, but they won the drivers' championship and the world championship.
But I'm saying, like,
constructors.
And maybe it's more of a criticism to Oscar of like, cool's a cucumber, cool dude, but like, you're gonna have to bear those teeth eventually. Because in my mind, like, there was also a lot of procedural mistakes that Drive to Survive did not talk about. So yes, Oscar took a nosedive, and he can blame himself for that for 7 races. Where he should have just stayed ahead of the drivers' championship. But it's like, for a team that was so heavily criticized, the him and Lando storyline was pretty muted, boring. The operation, everything was just kind of like, their whole story was like, despite being the main story of the whole season, was just like, what? It almost felt like no story. Mm-hmm. It was very boring.
It makes you wonder if McLaren had something to do with that. I know. So last year, one of the producers maybe of Drive to Survive, I saw he was interviewed on, was it P1? With Matt and Tommy, was it that one?
It was Them or Red Flags, because I remember when you brought it up, I was like, I don't want to hear that dumb shit.
So they interviewed one of the producers, I think it was, from Drive to Survive, and they were asking him some of the questions about, like, how do you edit this and how do you choose what storylines to follow and stuff like that. And the way and they also talked about how involved are the teams in terms of like approval. And if I remember correctly, he said that, they have to work pretty closely with the teams because the teams give them the access that they give them, right? Mm-hmm. And so the teams can make it more difficult for the people filming Drive to Survive and producing it. They can make it a lot more difficult for them to get what they need. So he's like, you're straddling this line of like being on good and friendly terms with the teams. But then also, you don't want to give them final approval, but you do consult them. So he's like, we would show the teams and give them the option to review the episodes that they're in. And then if they say, hey, we'd rather not include XYZ sort of stuff, then you take that information in and you either do it or don't. But it's not, and part of that too was because they do that because there's they get like all access when they do get to be with the teams and follow them around for the day. And so there is certain information and things that they film that the teams are like, that's like proprietary information. Like, you can't put that out there it's like part of like our team infrastructure or the way we do things, or like plans for the car. Like, you can't put that information out.
Yeah, which I'm sure, there's definitely forms that everyone needs to be on the same page about.
Yeah.
So it's like,
so they do get that sort of discretion about like, you can't include that kind of stuff. But when it comes to like the actual narrative storyline, I don't think that the teams get final approval. Mm-hmm. But if they do say, hey, we really don't want you to include XYZ, then I think the Drive to Survive team takes that information on board. And then again, it's them straddling the line of like, we still want to make the series entertaining and we still want to produce it in the way that we want, but we also have to still stay on good terms with the teams. So it makes me wonder, all of that, and keep that in mind.
Yeah.
How heavily did McLaren lean on them and put the pressure on Drive to Survive and their whole team about like, we don't want you to focus on this narrative and we don't want you to really paint it to be in a certain light?
Probably a lot. And the thing is, the ironic part is, right, how much better it would have been and how much more respect, like someone like, I'm going to say someone like me, who's very hypercritical of it, I would have had so much more respect for them if they would have just done it. Because I've been like, damn, like, okay, you guys are there, you're covering it. Like, shit, that's what happened. And I would have loved to see the actual inner workings of it all. But instead, it's like, it just shows like it's a reality show versus, I mean, that is what it kind of is. So like, fair enough. It's not like, it's not claiming to be this huge documentary. I mean, it's kind of a hybrid documentary / reality show, but it's like, I had a weird thought actually while I was watching, finishing it up. Because I kind of had that same thought of like, I wonder how much McLaren had to do with that. But I found it interesting because Max did no sit down interviews. There were times that they made it sound like he was talking to them, but I'm pretty sure I heard those sound bites and those were from interviews he did.
Yes, they've done that before.
And the thing that sucks is this would have been a really good season for Max and Red Bull to have a good relationship with Drive to Survive, but Drive to Survive has burnt that bridge. If I'm Max, fuck you because of how you've painted me. Like, you guys have went beyond to make him look like a fucking asshole. Like, to the point that I'm like,
I don't think he is. Like,
no,
he's genuinely.
That's what I'm saying.
All the other drivers, when they're genuinely asked, like, what's your relationship like with Max, or what did he have to say to you about XYZ, they all have nothing but nice things to say about him. They say he's a really nice guy. He's super friendly, forthcoming with information. Like, he's super supportive, and he's helpful. Like, and again, even other people, not drivers, who have interacted with Max, they say he's such a nice guy.
It's one thing to like here's the storyline and here's actually what happened, but what they've done to Max is fabricate it and literally take stuff out of context because they need him to be the villain in that story. And so if I'm Max, I have no desire to do it, and he didn't. But that's what sucks, because this would have been a really good season to have had him talking, and you wouldn't have even had to make a drama. You could literally make it about him. What does it feel like? Like, that would have been such a good storyline of the comeback that we didn't get from Red Bull. But that's what sucks, is you'll have them burn a relationship with like a team, especially now that Christian's gone, and the driver Max. But with McLaren, they could have told a story that they didn't have to fabricate anything for and really put the pressure on, but instead they want their whole access to that team for this coming year.
It's like,
and it's just like,
I guess my two kind of points to that, then, to piggyback off that, is one, what is the point of maintaining a good relationship with a team to get all access if you don't do any fucking thing with the access? What is the point of filming all this shit that actually happened and you don't have to fabricate and it's a real storyline? What's the point of maintaining that access if you don't get to use it and show it, right? But then two, the fact that, like you said, they had to manufacture this drama with Max, and like all they literally had to do with McLaren is say what happened. You don't have to fabricate anything. You don't have to even do any convoluted backflips to make it into a story. It's right fucking there.
No,
and they didn't tell it. And it's such a good story too. It's the same thing that's got me pissed off about last season when they didn't cover Lewis Hamilton winning the what's it called? Fuck. Silverstone.
Don't even play with me with that.
Like, the fact that the story is right there, the underdog, come from behind, the
greatest of all time, who's been in a fucking slump, didn't give a fuck.
Didn't cover any of it. It's like the story is right there, and it's so good from a storytelling perspective. It's so good, and you don't have to make it up. It actually happened. And they did the same shit with McLaren this time, and it pisses me off.
Because it's just like, what the fuck's the point of this?
Literally.
Like, it comes to the point where it's like, Drive to Survive is supposed to be this thing that I'm like, oh, it's gonna just like enhance what I've already watched. It's gonna be something that I watch, and I'm like, oh, cool. Like, I get to see more behind the scenes stuff or whatever. And it's not, where I'm like, this is
who's it for?
This isn't, like, who is this for?
The first couple of seasons, I understand who it was for. It was for people like us who had no idea what Formula One was, or that it even really, I had no idea it existed.
Yeah.
And then you're introduced to the sport and to the drivers and the teams, and you kind of dip your foot in. And then the first maybe 3 or 4 seasons is an introduction to it, right?
Yeah.
I get who they're trying to reel in. They're trying to reel in the people that will come in for the juicy storylines and the interesting narrative arcs. And then they dive more into, the following them on social media. And then you start watching behind the scenes videos, and then you start watching interviews, and then you start watching the races, and you become invested. I get that. At this point, 8 seasons in, who is this series for? Like, is season 8 of Drive to Survive actually the reason gonna like pull new viewers in to watch like only that season? Because you could make the argument, oh well, each season should be able to function as kind of like a standalone,
exactly,
right? Because
100%.
It follows different teams, different drivers over the course of just that one season. Yes, it is helpful to know information about previous seasons and stuff like that, but it helps kind of inform a broader, like a fuller picture of what's going on. However, you should be able to pick season 4, season 5, season 8, and watch it start to finish and know what's happening. And at least it's supposed to push you into wanting to know more about the sport as a whole. That I don't think this season successfully did that.
No.
Because if they were trying to actually use season 8 as a standalone to bring in new viewers to Formula One, they would have picked the juicy storylines like the McLaren battle, and they would have done them justice, and they just didn't.
No, they didn't. And it's just, the whole purpose of it is, let's bring people in, and let's also give the viewers who follow along the tidbits they don't get to see.
Mm-hmm. And this was, to be fair, when Drive to Survive started, there was a lot, Formula One was a lot more strict about anything put out regarding Formula One. So like they didn't have there wasn't nearly as much content being produced.
Yeah.
In terms of like social media stuff or interviews or behind the scenes.
Yeah.
There's a lot fewer media obligations than there are now. So like I get where like, you know, if you're a fan of the sport, Drive to Survive might have been like your only sort of source of behind the scenes candid moments that aren't, you know, in front of an interviewer or in, you know, on the track. So I get that. Mm-hmm. That's not what this is anymore.
No, but even then, like a lot of these drivers, they have relationships with the Netflix crew. So they might give an interview different than Netflix, and they're going to give in the moment right after the race when adrenaline's high, you know.
To like a journalist.
To a journalist. So it's like that. There's a whole point to build relationships with drivers. And when you've made the conscious decision to burn a relationship with the greatest of a generation, Max Verstappen, by fabricating bullshit, but then you get a great relationship with McLaren, clearly, and then you don't cover the fucking story that's there. Like, what is this for? At this point, hopefully, if season 9's not your redemption arc as a storytelling like outlet, then just fucking hang it up. It's done. Like, you had a good run, move the fuck on. Because at this point, like, why would I ever want to watch that again when I literally didn't get anything? The only thing you gave me, and I'll give you that, was Jonathan Wheatley. Mm-hmm. That was it.
And honestly, maybe could have got that from like social media videos from the team.
I would have got it. Let me put it this way. I would have got it without you. You just gave it to me a little sooner than how I would have got it on my own from their social media platforms. Mm-hmm. That's it.
I agree. So, and this sort of season, it's the kind that like pushes you to the point of like, do I care to see the next season of Drive to Survive? I mean, if it was up to me, and no. I wouldn't seek it out to watch it because I don't need to.
No.
I already know everything that's happened. Like, I know more. And it's actually more interesting of what I know from watching the races and following along through the course of the season. So it's better. And I get the satisfaction of the narrative arcs that actually happen in real life. So, yeah, I think that
exactly.
If it's only up to me, I'm not watching season 9 of Drive to Survive.
And the funny thing is there was another show that came out, F1 The Academy, about the girls. That was done by Reese Witherspoon's thing. I was disappointed that didn't get a season 2. Because that was like fresh storytelling. That was fresh because, you know, yes, they have media obligations, but F1 Academy is so much smaller and more concentrated in a way that it's like...
They don't get the same level of coverage.
No. I would rather see that because that's still... I would rather see that.
That's more interesting to me.
It's more... So honestly, Drive to Survive, maybe your run is done with Formula One. Go to a new... That crew, it might be time to go to a new series. Go to Formula 2. Go somewhere else, because if I just don't feel like at this point, if this is how you're going to cover it, you're not doing it effectively anymore, and you need to just rework it. I'm not saying hang it up forever, but go somewhere else. Go to Formula 2, Formula 3, or F1.
You know what they should cover? Because they do like other sports documentaries, not just racing series. Like the production team that does Drive to Survive.
Yeah,
they should do, if they haven't yet, one on Banana Ball. Are you familiar with Banana Ball?
No.
Those who know of Banana Ball, I would find that super interesting to see the behind the scenes of that because it's crazy. But
okay,
that took a segue. I'm just saying. That was a weird sort of segue.
I'm gonna look that up. So guys, if you don't know what to watch, go check out Banana Ball. If you were super disappointed with this new season of Drive to Survive, I urge every single one of you to go watch F1 The Academy.
Also on Netflix.
Also on Netflix. Give it love. I want to see more of that. Mm-hmm. That is worth the time, worth the effort, but have the same team do it.
Yeah, and also if you were dissatisfied with Drive to Survive's coverage of the Formula One season, what you could also do is subscribe to us because we do reviews after every single race in Formula One. We also cover F1 Academy.
Yes.
But for this conversation, we do race reviews after every single race. We talk about not just what happened in the race, but the biggest storylines on the track, off the track, what's going on with the drivers and the teams, the drama. We love covering that. But then also like we do analysis of like the race as a whole and the strategy, and like we talk about so much.
We do, and we talk about almost every team in some way, shape, or form, as long as there was a way. You know, some people cover just like the main juicy storyline. We do, but we like to also there's other storylines too to talk about and tell, which is probably why we were a little more hyper focused on why didn't y'all do this, why didn't y'all do that, this story for this person, what about these. One last story that I almost messed up just now, even though I know we closed it, but listen, why haven't they opened the first episode of this Drive to Survive season was about the rookies. That was it.
We got like no follow-up.
None. So like, how about you do everybody a favor, don't mention it at all if it's not a storyline of you following every single one's journey. Kimi Antonelli, love. He was not the only one. He wasn't the only rookie. Was he the only one replacing a 7-time world champion? Yes. But let's just be for real. Why did you bring it up at all? Talking about we've got all these rookies. Oh man, how are they going to do? Well, I don't fucking know if I watched Drive to Survive. Why bring it up at all?
Yeah.
It just like...
Yeah, so...
what was the point?
I think that you should follow us. The point is that you should follow us throughout the course of the season. We have a good time here. We have a lot of fun. We really enjoy Formula One.
Yes.
We have a good time talking about it. And yeah, I think that if you were to summarize sort of your feelings about this season of Drive to Survive.
Like in a word or a sentence?
You can take a couple of sentences if you want. Just what's kind of your overarching sort of overall thoughts?
Waste of time. It was a snooze fest. Literally boring. Even this, it was just shoulda, coulda, woulda, and bland. White bread, unseasoned food. Nothing.
It's giving.
It offered me nothing, but there were times I had to restart an episode because I was so bored or irritated because I'm like, this is a waste of time. Why are we even talking about this? Like, and I'm also thinking of it like, who's, like you said, who's watching this? But I'm sorry, tangent. Snooze fest, waste of time. I only finished it because we were going to talk about it. I would have not finished the whole thing if I knew we weren't going to be making content about it, basically.
Yeah, I agree. Was bored. And I thought, well, sometimes my attention span is not great, so sometimes it can wander.
Same. And that's I restarted the Williams one at one point because I did start to play chess on my phone. And then I was like, okay, it was just not.
Yeah, sometimes my attention can wander. It's a case of like, if we hadn't specifically made it a point that we needed to talk about these story beats, at the end of watching the whole season, if you had said, hey, what storylines did they actually focus on in this season? The only thing I would have remembered is that Flavio Briatore is evil.
Yeah.
And that James Vowles needed a shirt under his shirt. That's all I would have remembered. Like, I could, off the top of my head, if I wouldn't have been taking notes, watching it because I knew we were going to talk about it, there's just nothing stand out or memorable about the season. I was bored. My attention wandered, which is not good for a show that's supposed to be capturing your attention and keeping you watching.
About like our favorite thing.
Yeah,
like
literally.
This is about my favorite thing in the world.
We talk about this and consume more content about Formula One than any other thing in our lives. And I was so bored. And we do it because we love it.
Yeah.
And we enjoy it. I was so bored. What I needed was a clear, overarching narrative throughout the series to keep me coming back for each episode.
Yep.
Each episode tried to function almost as a standalone, or like they would bring up one thing in one episode and then not address it. They would address it once, like 3 or 4 episodes later.
Yeah.
And that's it. And mainly that was McLaren and Mercedes a little bit.
It feels to me like Drive to Survive needs to reevaluate if they're going to continue, I feel like it's annoying because it comes across like, oh, you're just a hater. No, it's not that. Like, facts are facts. You guys didn't execute on telling the stories well, and you can either accept that and try to do better or just don't do it at all. But a criticism is not, oh, you're just a hater of it to begin with. Like, no, it wasn't well executed.
Criticism is not hate.
No, it's like, hey, if
do better.
I would love to be able to go, fuck, I can't wait for Drive to Survive to come out because I can't wait to see how this is covered behind the scenes. Like, obviously, the way that you started the series and how it was executed well at first to get people hooked and interested, and that's how the storytelling functioned at the time, and it worked for you. Now you need to adapt, and just adapt or move on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm willing to give it another chance just because I do love Formula One, and if I would love to consume as much content as I can. But honey, I'm not going to sit through all of them again if the first episode is dog shit. Not going to waste my time.
You got one more episode from us next season.
Yeah, like, I'm just not going to do it because at that point, then it looks like you're getting a whole viewership. At that point, if I watch the whole thing to see if it sucks, it doesn't matter if it sucks.
You still
because
got the
you
views.
got the view.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm like, okay.
Whether people enjoyed it or not, you don't care about that.
Exactly.
You just care about the eyeballs on it.
Exactly. So it's kind of just like, listen, adapt or move on. That's pretty much all I got to say about it. But if you watched Drive to Survive, did you enjoy it? And if you didn't, what didn't you enjoy about it? What do you think?
If you really liked it, like if there are specific moments you enjoyed, please let us know.
Yeah.
Because we would love to agree with you. Or if there's something that we missed that you think that we should pay more attention to, or should have paid more attention to watching it because it was a cool moment.
Yeah.
Please let us know.
Yeah.
Because again, we love Formula One and we want to like Drive to Survive more than we did. So yeah, let us know in the comments.
Yes.
So we also, before the season starts, if you have not watched our team previews, you can go watch those. So we did, it's like a 15, 20-minute episode on each team.
Just about. Cadillac's about 30.
Yeah, so there's 11 episodes where we preview each team. We talk about how they did last season, what to expect for this season, and how testing went. So you can go watch those and catch up. They're pretty short, like quick to get through because each episode is pretty short. So go watch those. On this episode, you can we already mentioned a comment, subscribe. We talked about that already.
Yeah.
And then until then, we will see you after the first race in Australia.
We may have some F1 Academy content coming out.
Keep an eye out for that.
But I don't know yet because we were going to do an episode, but they haven't announced all the drivers. So I couldn't do my previews for them or our previews for them. So anyway, but worst case scenario, we're going to talk to you after Australia.
Okay.
Bye.